did it contain? And you answered it. So with respect to the Saballa and Cabrera impeachment complaints, is it correct that there was no authentic records that were attached when they were filed? Factual lang tong tanong ko.
If Your Honor, please, first of all, I would have to raise an issue with respect to whether this honorable court is acting as an appellate or review court of what happened during the House proceedings. The power of to initiate an impeachment complaint is exclusively lodged with the House, while the power to try and decide that impeachment case is exclusively lodged with this honorable court. And I don't believe that it is part of the function to go back to what may have happened during the proceedings before the House, since the articles have already been transmitted to this honorable.
Well, Counsel, even your...
Enzorecto, kalaban ang katiwalian at kasinungalingan, kakampi sa katotohanan at kabutihan.
So now to the ultimate facts, no? I don't know if Senator Joel, but Senator Pia asked a little bit about this. Just a quick review, or maybe so. We're also governed by the rules of court when it comes to ultimate facts. This is what Section 1 says. In general, every pleading shall contain in a methodological and logical form a plain, concise, and direct statement of the ultimate facts, including the evidence, on which the party relies on his or her claim of defense as the case may be. If a cause of action or defense relied on is based on law, the pertinent provisions thereof and their applicability to him or her will be clearly and concisely stated. So does the two counsels agree that sa ultimate facts, you have to include the evidence?
I would make a distinction, Your Honor, between what we call ultimate facts and evidentiary facts, which are the pieces of evidence that could be used to come to the conclusion or to decide whether those ultimate facts are present in the case or not.
Yeah, I think all of us lawyers agree with that. There's a difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. But the rules of court says, including evidence. Kasi kung walang including evidence, ang kailangan mo lang i-file, ultimate facts. Pero pag sinabing kasama ang evidence, for me, it doesn't mean that every single testimony in every single document should be attached. But so let me go to my second question. So pwede bang sa articles of impeachment, ultimate facts lang, walang naka-attach na evidence?
Ang requirement po sa pleading ay doon na dapat nakasaad ang ultimate facts. But if you look at the articles of impeachment that are before this court, it also contains evidentiary factual allegations to support the ultimate facts that are contained therein.
Thank you for that answer. Actually, that was my next question. Did it contain? And you answered it. So with respect to the Saballa and Cabrera impeachment complaints, is it correct that there was no authentic records that were attached when they were filed? Factual lang tong tanong ko.
If Your Honor, please, first of all, I would have to raise an issue with respect to whether this honorable court is acting as an appellate or review court of what happened during the House proceedings. The power of to initiate an impeachment complaint is exclusively lodged with the House, while the power to try and decide that impeachment case is exclusively lodged with this honorable court. And I don't believe that it is part of the function to go back to what may have happened during the proceedings before the House, since the articles have already been transmitted to this honorable
court. Counsel, even your students, colleagues, recognize that you are a brilliant man. You're very well learned sa law, but minsan mabilis. Kasi actually, that's not where I was going. Binaliktad ko lang. So two of my colleagues started with, or in your discussions, ano yung fishing expedition, going down to ultimate facts and evidentiary. Ako, I wanted to distinguish when is it a fishing expedition and when it's not. So I just wanted to know as a fact. Or can we take judicial notice that there was no authentic records in the Saballa and Cabrera?
What's the point again, Senator? Just there were no authentic.
It was just preliminary because I wanted to compare it with other impeachment complaints and I wanted to ask the question, when is it a fishing expedition o hindi? So these are legitimate questions. So factually, yung sa Balya and Cabrera ba, may authentic records attached. Ang information ko, wala. But I don't want to...
I believe, Senator Judge Allen, that the Zabalya and Cabrera complaints were attached as an annex,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, to the respondent's answer. Would that be
Yes.
correct, Attorney Poe?
And to be fair,
Your
it was...
As well as the annexes.
yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
In fact, the presiding officer noticed that it lacked a page in one of the annexes to the, I think, Zabalya complaint,
So,
which
anyway,
I think pointed out. So that's a fact.
Yeah,
So it's in the
lang-
records, Senator
yeah,
Judge
factual
Allen.
lang po. So, in the absence of authentic supporting record, what factual basis did the prosecution rely on to say that the allegations were sufficient in form and substance?
If I recall correctly, Your Honor, please, there were some attachments to both complaints. And I'm not aware of any rule in the House of Representatives as far as impeachment cases are concerned that limit what may be discussed or investigated by the committee to only what is contained and attached to the
Yes.
impeachment
I'm not
complaint.
questioning if there's an attachment. I'm questioning whether there was... I'm asking question. I'm not even questioning it. I'm asking questions on if there were authentic records. So I'll move on. No? In the complaint against President Bongbong Marcos, the finding was the complaint failed to establish any factual nexus between the president and an impeachable offense. What are presented were policy and disagreements and generalized accusations, not ultimate facts. Yun ang finding ng Committee on Justice. Correct?
Yes, Your Honor,
Okay.
to the best of my
So
recollection.
that's my question. After answering that question, does the prosecution agree that the requirement of alleging ultimate facts applies equally to all impeachment complaints, regardless of it's the president or the vice president, regardless if it's the ombudsman or the COA chairman?
Yes, Your Honor, and as I recall, when the members of the committee examined the complaint filed against the president, the conclusion of the committee was in fact that there were only conclusions of law contained in that complaint, not allegations of ultimate facts.
Yes, yet in that complaint, there were documents attached, authentic records, and the House did not ask na masupina yung AMLA, BIR, and bank records of the President.
The requirement, if Your Honor, please, of ultimate facts is really based on what is alleged in the petition or complaint
But
itself.
what was the exact words of counsel? Ang katotohanan ay hindi
Confidential.
confidential. So why in the case of President Marcos is the katotohanan confidential, but in the case of Vice President Sara, it's not confidential?
Wala naman po akong maalalang ruling ng committee in the case of the president na meron silang sinabing confidential.
No,
What I recall is that the conclusion was that the complaint did not allege
Yes.
ultimate facts.
So there was a conclusion even before asking for all of this. But in this case, balikta, there was a conclusion that there's no nexus between the president and an impeachable offense. In this case, walang authentic documents pero humihingi ng supina kasi yung katotohanan hindi confidential. So, which goes to my, well, first, let me honor who I should honor because it seems that the Lisa Masa complaint, which was endorsed by ACT party list, was here kanina, and I think Antonio Tino, I think Sara Elago was here the last week, and I think Representative Ko was here. So in their case kasi, I can say walang selective justice because they wanted the same standards of president and vice president. So that's my next question. We want fairness for everyone and for the Filipino people, but would it be unfair to require 20 years of documents from AMLA, BIR, and bank accounts from Vice President Sara without requiring the same from President Bongbong, considering that all of these scandals is happening during his administration?
If the allegations of the complaint against the President did in fact contain ultimate facts, I would see no reason why the Committee on Justice should not have proceeded with it.
So I'll take that answer. May I ask?
Bunyog, bunyog, halikan na kasama ka. Bunyog, kapag buklod ay may pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, isa ang pananaw. Sa bagong Pilipinas ang bunyog isisigaw. Bunyog, bunyog, bunyog.